Again, if we could come to order, please, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Good evening. We are reconvening from a closed session. I'll ask the city attorney to make any comments.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The council is in closed session this evening on two items: conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, City of Galt versus Galt Wellness Center, and Galt Wellness Center versus City of Galt. City Council received an update, and there is no reportable action.
Okay, thank you. We will now reconvene to open session. Did you need to turn a mic up?
Yeah, I do. I'll
Okay.
turn it on.
Okay.
Councilmembers Payne? Here. Claire?
Here.
Haynes?
Here.
Meredith?
Here.
Shelton?
Here. I'd like everyone to rise for a moment of silence and remain standing, followed by the flag salute led to us by Councilmember Meredith.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Let's turn that on.
Okay. I'm going to turn the speakers up. Just bear with us a moment, please. Okay. All right. We could have the video statement, please.
This meeting of the Galt City Council is being videotaped in its entirety and will be cablecast without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the Government Affairs channel on the Comcast and SureWest cable systems. Tonight's meeting can be seen on Channel 14 and will also be webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv this Friday and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Tonight's meeting can also be seen via live video streaming on the city's website at www.ci.galt.ca.us. A VHS copy is also available for checkout from any library branch. Members of the audience wishing to address council should fill out a speaker identification form and give it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing council and state your name for the record.
Thank you. We will now go over the agenda approval, additions, or any deletions. Council members?
I have none.
None? Darrell?
Nope.
None. None. Okay. We will now go into a few presentations. Liz?
Okay, we have actually three presentations. I'm going to read all of them. The first one is for Older Americans Month, a recognition of the volunteers. The second one is recognition of the Galt City Council Youth Committee for the graduating seniors. And the third is a recognition of the Galt Commission on Aging.
Yes. At this point, I would like to ask Peggy Andrews-Forsyth, who is past chairman of the Commission on Adult and Aging, to come forward and explain what Older Americans Month is about and why we celebrate it. And then I'll ask Mary Lou Powers from South County Services to give credit to the many wonderful volunteers that we have in Galt that have done so much for our older Americans. So Peggy, if you would come on.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Council. My name is Peggy Forsyth Andrews, and I am the liaison from Sacramento County Adult and Aging Commission to South County Services, and I have served in that capacity for 7 years. It's always a pleasure to be here in front of you. I was raised in a real small rural town, so it's like coming home in many ways. Last month was Older Americans Month, and the Commission was here to receive your resolution, but we really didn't get to hear a lot about Older Americans Month, so I'd like to just share a few little tidbits with you. Older Americans Month was first established in 1963, at a time when only 17 million Americans had reached their 65th birthday. According to the 2005-2007 American Community Survey, this population has increased to more than 37 million by 2007. It is now projected that by 2020, more than 54 million Americans will be age 65 years and older. For the first time in the history of the United States, we will have more older Americans than any other population in our country. This year, the Administration on Aging's Older Americans Month theme, Age Strong, Lifelong, reminds us all of our responsibility to ensure not only the well-being of older citizens, but to provide a community that encourages them to help themselves. The need to work collaboratively to create better care and a healthier society for all ages has never been greater. What I find so amazing is one of our greatest resources that we have now that we recognize more than ever are our volunteers and what they're able to help do for us, especially during these times now when we're facing some real budget constraints and having to look outside the box. What I've really experienced and what I've seen in the last 7 years here in Galt is that we have such an incredible, dedicated, and committed group of volunteers. Every year, Sacramento County's Adult and Aging Commission joins with the Board of Supervisors in recognizing senior volunteers across the county. We solicit nominations from focal points such as South County Services and other organizations in the county so that we can really bring forth to people so that they understand the importance of senior volunteers. This year, South County Services decided to nominate the individuals that help to provide the brown bag and commodity services to this county, and that is a group of 21 volunteers. I'm really happy to say this is the first time that it hasn't been one person, it's been a group of people, and so it was really very exciting down at the board. I really have the pleasure of reading to you that nomination and would like to share that with you. South County Services is proud to nominate the group of seniors that volunteer twice each month for South County Services Brown Bag and Commodities programs, as they are a dedicated, enthusiastic, and compassionate group of individuals. Their commitment to the programs they assist in administering is second to none. To watch them work is to observe a well-oiled machine. Each month, there are no questions about purpose. There is simply the common goal to serve the community. These senior volunteers range in age from 69 to 85 years. They have volunteered for this program on average 8 years, although there are 3 volunteers that have served 16 plus years. Each month collectively, they volunteer over 132 hours. To truly understand the commitment of this group of individuals, one must observe the service they perform. Twice a month, they sort pallets full of food and produce, often moving numerous bags to complete this task before filling on average 275 bags. That's 550 bags a month. For those seeking the service, understanding the needs, volunteers are careful to assure that the distribution atmosphere is one of laughter, sharing of stories, caring, and comfortable for those that do not speak English well. For those individuals that are unable to carry their bags to their vehicles, they carry their bags for them. For the homebound, they deliver. On average, you should know that we home deliver over 262 bags each time, twice a month. For those that need a little extra concern, they lend a compassionate ear and smile. There is no doubt that without their help, over 600 individuals a month would not receive this valuable service. Galt Brown Bag and Commodities is now an example in the county. We have one of the largest sites for distribution, and people truly cannot understand how these individuals can fill these bags in such a short period of time and distribute them with such efficiency. I really encourage you to watch them do this. This group of seniors exemplifies the true meaning of making a contribution to their community and of what being a volunteer is all about. South County Services, the people of the city of Galt and surrounding areas owe them a sincere debt of gratitude. And now it's with pleasure that I introduce Mary Lou Powers to present the certificate.
Peggy, if you will stay up there with Mary Lou.
Okay.
I'll bring the certificate.
I just want to say a little something first. I want to thank Peggy for being the South County Services chairperson of this. She's there with the volunteers every third and fourth Thursday of the month, delivering this food. It's a real pleasure for me because most of these people were here way before I was. They've been doing this all along and every month coming out to make sure that food is delivered to those less fortunate in our city. And so it was with great pleasure that I introduce all of them to you. And okay, I'll go in alphabetical. Do you want me to go? How do we do this? It might take a second. Please bear with me. Eva, are you here? Come on down and get this, hon. And Eva's been with us for 6 years. I appreciate all that you do. Thanks so very much. Oh, this.
Mary Lou, I'm wondering, do we want them to line up?
Oh,
in
wait,
front?
why don't we have them all stand up here and then afterwards we'll take a picture of all of them. Thank you. That'd be a great. Eva, honey, just stay right over there. Get by Barbara and we'll fan you out there. Alice Lubers. And Alice has been with us for 4 years. Irene Schneider. And Irene is one of those, has been with us for 18 years. And she whips us all into shape, let me tell you. Lolly Garcia. And Lolly's there, and Eva and Alice are all very helpful in helping with us with our Spanish-speaking clients. And Lolly's been with us 5.5 years. Jimmy Hollingsworth. And Jimmy's been with us for 5 years. Don't look so serious, Jimmy. I promise we don't fight. I know. I want to add one other thing, that a lot of Jimmy and some others work for churches also. With the leftover, they take it to their churches. So on the weekends, we're able to give out food on the weekends when we're not open. So we appreciate the fact that they do that also. Dale Rothenberger. 23 years. Every month, folks.
And a new joke.
Yes. Georgia Guerrero. Come on, Georgia. I just want to add a little something about Georgia. Last year, she was also our nominee for Older Americans Month. She also medical transports a lot of our seniors to their hospital and medical appointments. Yay, Georgia! Lois Lamson. 16 years. And when I first got here, Lois told me how it was done. Every week for about 3 years.
You doing it right now, Lois?
Mary Chapman. Mary's one of our newbies, but when she's not helping us, you know, she's helping everybody at the Grange to distribute food. So where would we be without you? Rose McConaughey. After the food is delivered, Rose makes sure at one of the senior villages that it's passed out to the seniors there. Garner Archer, 11 years, another one of our oldies but goodies. And he's another one along with Dale that's one of the church people for us. Thank you so much. Sharon Nicholas. And Sharon's one of those who passes it out at New Hope Village and who's helped us with the senior dinner and a lot of other things. Patricia Nava. And Patricia's at Comfrey, and she's the one that makes sure that all the seniors at Comfrey get there. And Hudson Day. John Duran. And John helps at Comfrey too, thanks. And then we have some that couldn't be here tonight, so I'd just like to recognize them. Patricia Ospach. Oh, Patricia. Well, what are you doing, hiding in the corner? It's all her fault. Yeah. Thank you very much. Francelina Costa. And Bob and Barbara Birch. Oh, sorry. Lillian Souza. Viva Grafe. And Doris Williams. So I just want to thank you all so much for everything you do for the community. It's a pleasure knowing each and every one.
Open up the folders and take them out. Now y'all gotta look over here. You gotta give that senior smile. You might get a discount. Hold it, get over, get out, get your head out. And I say three, y'all gotta look at me. I'm gonna take 2 pictures now. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is all lift your legs up on the next picture. So seniors can do it, young kids can't do that. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Lift your legs up, everybody. Where's it going?
You're supposed to bring them, boys.
You know, on behalf of the City Council, there's no way we can say how much we appreciate all the hard work that you do for our community. And hopefully we will continue to see you through many more years. Go ahead, Mary Lou.
I just wanted to say happy birthday, Barbara.
Aw, thanks. I'm one of those senior citizens, too. One of the things I've learned is that Galt is one of the few communities that has their own Commission on Aging. And Aggie Hatchie is the chairman of that group, and she's been with them a long time. So Aggie, if you would like to come up and talk about the members of the Commission on Aging. By the way, they are appointed by the City Council members to serve, and they do serve in so many personal ways. If there's a senior that has a problem in the middle of the night with no heat or whatever, they call these ladies, and some of them are out there taking care of their needs. I can think of many instances where just that has happened. So without further ado. Thank you. Aggie, how long have you been doing this?
I think since '95, I think.
A long time.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you in the county.
They
So-
do.
They do. If you want to, I think you have a couple that are here.
Is anyone here from the Commission on Aging? You want to come up, Shirley? Is anyone else here? Well, one listened at the meeting. We try to reach out to the seniors that live in the senior complexes. We have appointed certain people to go to the housing and find out if there's any problems. We actually came to the city council, I think a couple of years ago, to get a warming center and a cooling center when some seniors were having problems in their complexes. They do come to us sometimes when they have problems with their managers of the complexes, and we try to figure out what can be done. And my resource is actually Peggy Andrew Forsythe, because she is very knowledgeable about all of that, so she does help us with some of that. We do help with the senior day that the Rotary puts on, and we try to just reach out to seniors. We don't get enough of them to come to us for their problems, but we're getting there. And we're all out for seniors, you know, trying to help them in any way we can. That's about it. The members of our commission are Shirley Fortis, Deborah Longoria, Terry Shelley, Patricia Campbell, and Darla Kuster. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yes. You know, these are the people that work, and they're kind of the unsung heroes. So it's nice that they can get recognized once in a while for what they give back to the community.
And most of the people do work on our commission, except for me. I think I'm the only one that doesn't work.
Ah, I don't
For money, that is.
Come here, Shirley.
You can't read the name.
You get a senior discount if you get a. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
This time of the year is a happy time of the year, but it's a sad time of the year, especially for me, when some of our graduating seniors that have worked on the youth council for, some of them since they were freshmen, giving countless numbers of hours for community service and always there to help, whether it's Diversity Day or surveys or putting together a film that says what they think the needs of the youth are of this community. So I just had to take a minute to recognize these seniors before they go off to their colleges and leave our community. So Janet and Joanne, their chairman, if you would come forward with these students. And I'm going to ask you to introduce them and give them their certificates. And
Thank you. It's been a great honor to be working alongside a lot of talent and our young people. You guys, this is just like what a role. We've got somewhere else to look forward to, always volunteering, and we started these guys out young. They've been doing everything with the city's help, from Parks and Rec Department to Barbara Payne and all of the people that come together that help them plug in their energy to make a difference in their community. It's just been awesome.
These three guys have been a real blessing, and that's, I didn't want to talk, but that's it, right? But this one is our great, she gets all of our volunteers. This is Crystal, and she's just the best, absolutely best at getting the volunteers.
and they have more energy than you can imagine. We want to get things done. I don't care what it is. These three have stepped up for everything, and we can count on them. And even though they're graduating, they're going to help us with the Galt Festival this year with the Gola Hall. So, you know, they just have gone out, extended themselves more than once for us, even when we're like last minute asking them for things. And I'm just so proud of them. I just, like a mom almost. So that's what I got to say about it.
Would you? So we have Lucia Prado, who, oh, this is all right.
So just go by the,
Okay.
there you go.
This is Lupe. How do you say your last name? We just know that.
Lupi.
Yeah.
And Crystal Rodriguez.
Turn around and face this way and open up your
Oh.
Get over there and face over there. Yeah, open them up. There you go.
All right, let's look at it. Here we go.
And Joanna, when I say pretty, I have to smile. It's one of those things, you know. I hope you're pretty. And you're big.
Can we get a senior discount?
One, yeah. Well, you're a senior, aren't you? 1, 2, 3. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, just one more thing. Janet and Joanne have been with the Youth Council from the very inception when it was started. And I don't know, that 5 years ago that you've been working with these people. And thank you so much for all your time and hours and patience that you've put to make our Youth Council successful. Appreciate you too. Sorry I don't have a certificate for you.
All right, well, thank you, everyone, for everything you've done for the community. Okay. Our next item is public comment.
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the audience may address the council on any item of interest to the public or on any agenda item before or during consideration of the item. Please fill out a speaker sheet located on the table inside the entrances to the council chambers and forward the completed speaker sheet to the city clerk prior to addressing the council. We request that you state whether you live within the Galt city limits or the county area. A maximum of 5 minutes is allowed for each speaker. Rick Reese? Mr. Reese?
I'm trying to get in over here.
Oh, he is,
Trying to
okay.
get in. While we're waiting, I'd like to take the opportunity.
Rick.
Yeah, Rick. To recognize our new fire chief from CSD, Tracy. I don't want you to think that we're going to let you come to our meeting and not be recognized, okay? Okay.
Hello, City Council. I'm Rick from Family Barbershop, located at 213 South Lincoln Way. I just recently moved my business from the Lucille Peck's building down to the Lee's building, 6 doors down. And the reason why I've come here tonight is to ask if, I know that you guys had talked about at the last City Council meeting about the flag ordinance for the flag that I had out in front of my business. I know it's going to take some time in order for you guys to decide and invest, you know, go back and forth on it or whatever the process is. But I just wanted to just say a few things about it and what that flag actually does for my business. The whole street of Lincoln on the east side of Lincoln between A and C Street is under construction. There ain't a single person in this town that drives by there that will look any direction eastward at all. There's no reason for them to do. It's all fishnet looking. There's no reason for them to look that way. This flag I put out there and purchased, it helped my business. It helped with a lot of new customers. It helped with letting the customers know that I'm not down here anymore, I'm over here. It helped in the move, and it's helped with a lot of new customers. Code enforcement came out and asked me to take it down, and if I didn't take it down, I asked what would happen. He told me he would give me a ticket, and the ticket price was $500 per day that I flew the flag. I told Rusty, go back to your office and get a box of pins, because I'm going to fly the flag. When I said that, I didn't realize what I really said, because I said it out of anger. Rusty came back and talked to me and asked me to take it down until the city decided what they were going to do about this ordinance that was written sometime back in the early 70s. I can understand if the flag was cheaply made, kind of half put together, something of that sort, dangerous, distraction to traffic, anything. I've scrutinized my own flag, but I can't find one reason not to have it, other than if every single business on the block had one, I can see it. I can see, okay, that's too many. Now, every time I've come here to the city council and brought anything forward, I come with a problem, and then I think I come with a solution to the problem. The solution to the problem, I would say, would be if you had it on certain days, like when the flea market is going Tuesdays and Wednesdays, when business goes down, if you allowed it on those days, or odd and even addresses, something of that sort. But I really don't think the flag is really that bad. I really don't. I don't see it being ugly. It's very professional. It's clean. It's neat. It weighs less than 14 ounces. The thing is made out of material, except for the really thin aluminum pole that this piece of material flies on. That is one thing. But I just don't, I'm just, all I'm here to ask for is if, while you consider this and weigh it all out, this old ordinance, if I can fly my flag to help because I've moved from one location to the other, 6 doors down. That's all I came here to ask for. So.
Rick, when code enforcement came out to your business, did they tell you whether it was like a self-initiated visit or if another business owner on the block had complained?
No, he told me, what he told me I'd rather not repeat because it kind of put him on the hot box, but it was not, it was city, someone within the city. So.
It was a proactive approach. And if I could speak for just a moment, there were about 20 separate flags of this type that came up over a period of about 5 days, all of which were in violation of the ordinance. And it was myself who actually directed the code enforcement officer to go talk to the property owners regarding those signs. So that is part of the
20 of them. I would say less than 20, but 4 of them for one business would be an overabundance, I would think. Now, if you limited them to 1 per business, and then you brought it from 20 down to 7, because there's only 7 different businesses that had them.
Code enforcement is not enforcing at this point. Based on council direction last time, we're preparing a report as directed by the city council to come back and look at options. We will have a variety of options. The ordinance, which was written in 1998, is that which the city council at that time felt was appropriate for the regulation of signs. These types of signs simply don't fall within the conformity of the existing ordinance. Code enforcement was simply doing their job. It doesn't, they don't take a look at whether it is a sign which they feel is appropriate or not. It just, they have to look at what the regulations state. If they don't fall within those regulations, then it is up to them to take appropriate action. I would also like to point out that Mr. Hughes, I think, worked on Mr. Reese's behalf and in fact talked to his landlord about getting a sign, and I believe you have a permanent sign installed now.
Yeah.
The landlord apparently was apprehensive about having a sign put on the new front because they'd had some work done, and initially I believe told you they wouldn't allow you to do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he wouldn't let me.
Mr. Hughes went and talked to the landlord and convinced him that that would be an appropriate thing for this individual to use this sign that he has, and it's a legal sign, and I believe it's been installed.
Right. Yeah, it has been. Yeah.
But to
That was the deal that I had with Rusty, and the reason why I did take the flag down.
in summary, we are not at this point issuing citations. The initial citation would have been $100, and Rusty always talks to him, tries to get compliance. It's not to go out there and simply issue citations. So,
Yeah. Is the mesh material still on the front of your building while they're doing construction? Is that
No.
mesh material?
It's on the Lucille Peck building, because I moved into the next building down across the alleyway.
Right.
So, if that be the case with the flag, why does McDonald's get to do it then? Because they're a big box and I'm a small box? I don't understand that either. That was my next comment I was going to make about it.
Let me ask Jason, have we met, Kurt, have we offered to met, or can I suggest that we meet with not only Rick, but I guess there was 18 or 20 other businesses? Have we met with them and discussed, the issue with the flags and the signs?
I think the code enforcement and planning, they've met individually with several of the property owners, as Kurt mentioned. We haven't had a group meeting with them. I think the last direction we got from council, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before that, was to bring back various options for the council's consideration, which with Kurt and his staff are working on right now. We should have that back for the council.
I think we're shooting for the 15th.
Yes, it should be back shortly. But in the meantime, we're not enforcing the ordinance.
So
What
the
we-
streets can fly the flag from
We
now
are
on.
not- Code enforcement is not going to be enforcing it until we get further direction from council. And to clarify a point, there wasn't 18 or 20 property owners, there were individual flags.
18 flags.
What we will do is we will notify those individuals who are involved when Rusty first went out, so that they'll be aware of the council meeting and they can come down and appear before council.
But I will tell you, now, Rick, I think Rick's real issue here is his ability to fly it, but I don't think his issue is with Rusty, but the ordinance itself. Now, I was out at Rick's place, and I saw the flag, and I felt it, and I've lifted it up, and it's quite light. Very professionally done, I will tell you, Rick, very impressive. And I think part of his problem is that because they're doing all the construction on the building next door, and the building he's in sets back, even with that sign on the building, it's very difficult for anybody coming by the street to see that he's there. So I can understand his concerns. And I haven't had a chance to read our options out yet, but most certainly I think he's got a legitimate argument. So I'm glad that we can at least I'm hoping that we'll at least be flexible so that he can fly that flag until we get something resolved.
I was just want to add one last thing that I have to say. And I mean, this is strictly for me, I guess, but I took the flag down when Rusty asked me to take it down. Okay, I took it down on a Monday. I did not have that flag up all the way up until Saturday. Saturday I did put it back out there. But each day that I took it in, my business dropped from the 2 weeks before that, anywhere from $65 or $68 to $100 a day. And that right there to me was just like, wow. I'm not going to say it's just a sign, but it just seemed like too much of a coincidence. When I did take it down, my numbers dropped that fast, $68 to $100 a day. New customers, new people, so on and so forth.
We're definitely here to be small business friendly, Rick. I will tell you that. So.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Al Baldwin?
Good evening, Council. Al Baldwin, one of the concerned citizens of Galt. And I'll tell you, it's been a great weekend. It showed a lot of the characteristics of Galt. I went to the 2010 Memorial Day program at the cemetery. It was done very professional. It was one of the best ones I've seen. I wanted to tell you that your mayor, Randy Shelton, did an excellent job presenting to all of us what it really meant, Memorial Day. And Don Natoli was there, and he did an excellent job. All the people were there. We had singers, musicians. The taps was played by Charles Marshall, and it was excellent. Almost brought tears to you when you hear that taps being played like that. I wanted to say thank you for at least having the cemetery and maintaining it as best we can, and inviting everybody there. Now, I did see Randy, and that was the only one from the council. I'm sure you've had other things to do, and if you were there, I apologize because I didn't see it. but there was a lot of people. It was standing room only, 15 minutes after it started. You could tell that people were extremely patriotic, and the veterans that were killed, and that's what this day was for, was honored very professionally, and it was done in a great manner. And I just want to say thank you, and thank you, Randy, for your presentation. It went over extremely well, and it's one of those kind of memorials that you remember for years. So I just want to say thank you to Galt, and thank you, Randy, and everyone else who was there. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Oh, one more thing. The speaker you just had up here about the flags, if it's possible in any way, shape, or form, the businesses downtown are hurting so bad for businesses, and this netting all over the buildings has created a real challenge for them. The signage thing, you can't put signs out there that people don't even know. They think you got mosquitoes because of all these nets in there. I would suggest possibly, if you could, put a temporary ban maybe on flags or some kind of a thing while this is going on to at least attract people. If you have flags like we had, huge banners on the street on that one side, it says something's going on and we're open, come on down. Some kind of temporary ban while this is going on. We need the business in Galt, especially in that area, because you're doing some type of construction and it's going to be beautiful when you get done. But right now, it's Hurtsville, and anything would help. And I would just say a temporary ban, if you could do that some way, or an emergency ban, or whatever, if you could get away with that, at least for the time being. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.
Okay, Alex Kafka?
City Council members, my name is Alex Kafka, and I live here in Galt. I'm concerned with the homeless circumstance in Galt. These people are truly starving, and a few citizens have mentioned that they are disturbing by their outbursts. I took it upon myself to volunteer at the Sunshine Closet so that I could continue to research this issue. What I've discovered is that there are people that are working on this issue but have been put on hold. I stand here tonight to ask if the council could continue the process to help the community on this homeless issue. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Woody?
Well, we're going to get on flags again. I think that's a dumb ordinance. You go to Lodi, you put them up where you want. You're going to run the businesses out of town, there goes your revenue. And he happens to be my barber. I didn't even know he was going to be here tonight, but I stopped there the other day. The building's closed. I didn't even know he moved, so I didn't get a haircut. Okay, that's number one. I've been going to different restaurants, and there's a lot of people telling me, why don't you get Ted Anderson to set up here till November? Does that sound funny? That was over at Denny's, a whole bunch of cowboy type guys, and they were all saying, I think we ought to get Ted Anderson to set up there. He knows the city. Okay, now next, Mr. Mayor is exactly right. When you move to Reading, that is a sweet place. We have a ranch in Corning, right by the forest. You probably have to go buy it. It's close to 150 acres. And I'll be retiring there in about 7 months. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to invite you over to the ranch.
My house is still in escrow, Woody. You might convince me to back out of it.
We're going to invite you over to the ranch with the kids.
I'm just kidding. So you know where
rivers and parks. I'll tell you one thing about the police department. My daughter lives there. If you do something bad, like a knife or a gun or something, those cowboys in that area, they're going to get you before the cops get you.
So you know where Flournoy is then, Woody?
I think it's past me.
To the west, down Corning Road.
Yeah.
Way out there.
Yeah, we've been there. I just came from there. I've been there for a whole week. It's a nice area.
Thanks, Woody.
That's all I have.
Okay. We have some consent agenda items. I asked the city clerk if there's 5 of them, if you could read those off, please.
Okay, 5 items. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the special and regular council meetings of May 18th, 2010. Number 2, approval of the City of Galt warrants. Number 3, street closure requests for the Shop Local Committee. Number 4, award purchase of trailer-mounted sewer mainline television inspection system. And number 5, real property acquisition, Fidel and Marie Rangel, Central Galt Interchange Project.
Okay, any questions? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? None? Call the roll call vote, please.
Excuse me. Councilmembers Payne?
Aye.
Claire?
Aye.
Haynes?
Aye.
Meredith?
Aye.
Shelton?
Aye. Okay. Next item is scheduled matters. Capital Improvement Program. City Manager.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Item before you tonight is the consideration and approval of the presented 2010 through 2015 Capital Improvement Program. The meeting on May 25th, staff provided a detailed description of the various projects, funding sources, and so on as far as the Capital Improvement Program, so I won't take any time tonight going through that again. There was a change made at that meeting from the recommended program, and that was to remove the Quiet Zone project and to bring that item back for future consideration as far as how other options for expenditure of CDBG funds, and that will be brought back at a later date. But that is the change that was made. Staff's recommendation is that the council conduct a public hearing and adopt the resolution approving the 5-year capital improvement program. There is an opportunity if the council has additional questions or wanted to make additional changes. You could certainly do that before the final adoption of the document, or if the council or the members of the community have any final comments. But that's it from the city staff.
Thank you. Before I ask council for questions, I think it would probably be nice if we could open up the public hearing, if there's any comments. Open public hearing. Is there anyone from the audience wishing to speak on this matter? Okay, we have one speaker.
Rick Walters, and I live in the city of Galt. One question I asked Mr. Haynes was earlier tonight was the $1,306,000 for the water meter retrofit, when there is $1,741,000 in there, and I'm just questioning what happened to the $435,000.
The funds will remain in the fund balance for the designated for the water meter implementation program. We won't know the exact cost until we actually go out and finish the design and bid the project. At that time we'll have a better understanding of what the actual costs are going to be, and the council can determine if there is a gap, and let's say there's $400,000 left in those funds, the council could decide if it wants to use that money for phase 2 of the water meter program, or any other lawful purpose for which those funds have been collected.
That brings me to my second question, is why would you use funds for phase 2 when those people didn't put into the fund?
Well, I can't speak to what the council may do in the future, or what the motivations might be, but it's something that the council can certainly consider. Those funds were collected for the water meter program. It wasn't individual funds collected for each individual homeowner, and the council will have the discretion of deciding, as long as those funds are used for the water meter program, those funds will be used in for that purpose.
Well, it's my belief that the city is going to use $400,000 for phase 2. That's my belief. That's why I want to get on top of this ahead of time, so that it doesn't happen.
Any decision would be brought back in front of the city council at an open public meeting.
So the council's forewarned on this issue. Thank you.
And with options.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Walters.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Okay. Any comments from council? Barbara? Darrell?
No, again, I'd just like to thank the staff for all the work they've done to bring this before us.
Okay, thank you.
I have none.
I have none.
I have nothing. Okay. Is there a motion on the floor then?
So moved.
Motion's been made.
I'll second.
Been seconded. Any further discussion? None? Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Payne?
Aye.
Councilmember Claire?
Aye.
Councilmember Haynes.
Aye.
Councilmember Meredith.
Aye.
Mayor Shelton.
Aye. Regular calendar, City Manager's Office.
2010 through 2012 biannual budget.
This is similar to the CIP where staff presented at the last council meeting, detailed information about the proposed and recommended budget for fiscal year 2010 to 2012. There was a couple of additions to the budget at that meeting, one of which was funding in the amount of $10,000 for the Galt Area Historical Society. The second change was funding for South County Services in the amount of $25,000. As stated at that meeting, funding agreements for both of those groups, including reporting requirements, will be brought back to the council at a later date, but those amounts have been included in the now recommended budget. No other changes were recommended, and the budget is now presented for the City Council for consideration and adoption.
Any comments or questions from council?
I have none.
Darrell?
Nope.
Have none.
I have none.
I have none either. Thank you. Well, I'll ascertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion been made.
Seconded.
And seconded. Any further discussion? If none, roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Clare.
Aye.
Councilmember Haynes.
Aye.
Councilmember Meredith.
Aye.
Mayor Shelton.
Aye. Approved. Next item, Culture and Recreation Department.
City equipment usage policy.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Before you this evening is a formal policy for the use of city equipment. As you realize, the city has loaned out equipment for various events and organizations here in the community over the past several years. And as I said before, this is more or less a formal process that an organization must go through to be considered to utilize the equipment off-site. Basically, it would be a letter to myself or the city manager. The request would come before City Council. At that time, Council would consider co-sponsoring it, the event, or supporting the event. And basically, also in the report is a list of the equipment that is being recommended for use for various organizations. And that's about all I have. If there's any questions.
Questions or comments from council?
Looks good to me.
Okay. Darrell?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to move staff's recommendation.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second. Any further discussion? If none, call for the roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Payne.
Aye.
Councilmember Clare.
Aye.
Councilmember Haynes.
Aye.
Councilmember Meredith.
Aye.
Mayor Shelton.
Aye. Thank you. Next item, Finance Department.
Cost plan methodology.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. The recommendation you have before you tonight is to approve the use of the actual cost of service as presented in the cost allocation plan as the basis for the reimbursement of the cost of support services, and that method be implemented in the subsequent year of each analysis. The cost allocation plan was implemented in fiscal year 93-94 and has been the basis for recovering cost of service provided to the other funds by the department funded in the general fund. A cost plan is also prepared for services provided by the Culture and Rec staff to other funds inclusive of the general fund. Both plans are prepared annually, and the allocation amounts are incorporated in the budget approved by council. The current methodology is to use the cost of service determined by the cost allocation plan and divided by the actual expenditure of the service department in order to determine a percentage. That percentage is then applied to the central service department's expenditure in the subsequent year to determine the amount to be reimbursed by the various funds. These reimbursements are made in the form of transfers in and out, and which are more commonly referred to as abatements. During this year's budget process, staff identified some areas of concern. The first one being that department expenditures can fluctuate from year to year. So by applying a percentage, this can result in an increase or a decrease in the amount of the transfer being made. Therefore, it's being recommended that the step of converting the cost of service into a percentage be removed, and that the actual cost of service be used for reimbursement. Also identified was that currently the budgeting process, the same support services applied in the current year are also applied in the year 1 and year 2 of the multi-year budget, which here again can result in increases and decreases in the transfer amounts. For this purpose, it's recommended that a 3-year average be used to assist in maintaining a leveling of the support service amounts. These amounts would then be updated once the respective cost allocation plan has been completed. The methodology recommended tonight has been incorporated into the budgets that were presented this evening and reflects an increase in support service of approximately $38,000. As an alternative, council can also choose to continue using the current methodology. However, this process would continue to create increases and decreases in the transfers for reimbursing the cost of service. Council may also adopt any other methodology they choose. However, if the methodology is not based on the cost of providing services, it's likely that the general fund or the culture and rec fund will be subsidizing the city funds, or that the other funds will be subsidizing the general fund and or the culture and rec fund. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Council, any questions or comments? Barbara?
Would you just sort of do an example of how that would work? You know, forget the words, but do an example of how the abatement would work. How would you determine, you know, what the cost of the employee, is that part of your abatement? Like in the account, say for the accounting department, how many hours you as an
Yeah, each department submits an allocation of how much time they spent on the different activities towards other funds. That's just one part of the cost allocation plan.
Okay.
They consider the expenditures of the department's fiscal year expenditure. There's other levels of criteria that are also applied. You want to take
If I can add just a couple comments. The methodology, the analysis portion of the analysis is not being changed, and so the work effort that every department submits will remain the same. So, for instance, in the finance department, we look at the number of full-time equivalents for payroll purposes. That methodology will still continue. The change that's being recommended tonight is that what we do is we actually apply a percentage to next year's estimated budget. So if a department's budget increases, then that percentage stays the same, but the impact, that percentage to a larger amount, will increase. What we believe is a more accurate reflection is if we know that the cost of providing support service to the Culture and Recreation Fund is $400,000, we should just be charging $400,000. We should not say, oh, it's a percentage of the budget. It should just be $400,000. That way, Boyce, when he figures out his budget, he knows that the cost to support his departments is $400,000. For years, we have been applying a percentage. We take finances and apply that as a percentage to Boyce's budget and so forth. So even though that is an accepted practice and methodology, we believe that in the current economy that Everyone should know what the cost is. It shouldn't change. If it's $500,000, I should know what the impact is. Boyd should know what the impact is. The city manager should know in the presentation of the budget. So we're not changing it. That's really the basis for the analysis is remaining the same. It's just that we're just using the hard dollar amount from now on. Another item that we're looking at, what Donna did present, was we use that same number for the budget cycle for the next 2 years. Well, we've seen that there have been some cyclical items where we might have a consultant come in and provide support services from the planning department for the general plan. Well, that was a huge spike. Well, we know that's not going to really affect next year's budget, but because we know that it is a true cost, we figure that a more accurate cost would be to basically take a 3-year average and say, okay, well, let's get rid of that high and that low, and let's just come up with an average cost now for the future budget years. So instead of seeing those spikes in the analysis for future years, we're saying let's kind of level it off and take a 3-year average. And that seemed to kind of come up with a leveling amount for future budget years. So even though the analysis will still remain the same, just the application in the immediate year is the actual dollar amount. And for the budget years, we're looking at using an average. So those are the 2 changes that are being recommended this evening, right on the staff report.
Thank you for clarifying it. I was getting a little bit lost in we tried to come back. I reviewed the report, and she had an example in there, and it is somewhat difficult. The analysis, the cost plan itself is an overwhelming task, but we were kind of working through one example for you, so I'm glad I was able to clarify that a bit. Thank you.
So just to clarify for the public, Inez, it's still a projection. We're not actually going to be billing from each department to a specific fund throughout the year. We're projecting during the budget cycle what we think that hard dollar amount is going to be instead of what we think the hard percentage is going to be. Is that right?
We now know that the dollar amount for fiscal year 0809 is a set dollar amount because that year has already finished.
Right.
So that dollar amount, we are now applying it to the subsequent year. But we're not increasing it or anymore. There will still be that 1-year lag, which is in the current methodology, but instead of applying it as a percentage, we're going to just apply that dollar amount. So last fiscal year, we knew that the cost of, well, I don't know the example here, we knew that the cost of providing support services, for instance, to the Culture and Recreation Fund was $400,000. Whatever that dollar amount was, we're not changing it anymore. We know that last year's cost was $400,000, and that is now in the budget. Okay. For the budget years, though, because we don't have those numbers yet, we're currently still in fiscal year 9-10. We're still analyzing that year, so we're just using a 3-year estimate for next year because the year isn't up yet.
Okay.
I understand it.
Any other comments from council? If not, I'll ascertain a resolution, a motion.
So moved.
Motion's
Second.
been made and seconded.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a double second. Thank you.
All right.
Check and see if you're awake over there. Okay, any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Payne? Aye. Councilmember Claire?
Aye.
Councilmember Haynes?
Aye.
Councilmember Meredith?
Aye.
Mayor Shelton?
Aye. Communications? None? We will adjourn to the redevelopment agency. So the roll call, please.
Okay, board members Payne? Here. Claire?
Here.
Haynes?
Here.
Meredith?
Here.
Shelton?
Here. Public comment?
I have no speaker sheet.
Consent agenda items. We have 3, if you could read those off.
Sure. Number 1, minutes of the meeting of May 18th, 2010. Number 2, approval of the redevelopment agency warrants. And number 3, 2010-11 and 2011-12 recommended multi-year budget.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Second?
I'll second.
And seconded. Any further discussion? None? Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Payne? Aye. Councilmember Claire?
Aye.
Councilmember Haynes?
Aye.
Councilmember Meredith?
Aye.
Mayor Shelton?
Aye. Okay, adjourn and reconvene to the Galt City Council, City Clerk's report.
I have just a couple items. First, we've had a resignation from Kristen McDonald from the Galt Beautification Committee. She can no longer serve on the committee. She was appointed by Councilmember Claire in 2006, and at this time, staff is seeking an appointment from Councilmember Claire. We did advertise the vacancy, and Lois Trant expressed an interest in filling the position. She's the current alternate, and that's the only interest that we received on that position.
It's Daryl's appointment.
Daryl's appointment.
Daryl?
Yeah, I thought I heard someone else chiming in there. I would like to first off thank Kristen for her years of service, and I'd be more than pleased to nominate Lois if that's fine with the council.
Fine with me.
Okay.
Council?
Sounds good.
I'm good with it.
Do we need to come back and do an alternate then?
We will probably advertise since
Okay.
we didn't get any response. We'll probably wait a month and maybe try to advertise for an alternate
Okay.
for
All
the
right.
council.
Then so moved.
I have just a couple of reminders. Okay. June 4th, 5th, and 6th, there's a Shriners Hospital Cool Truck Show at the Galt Market. There should be flyers.
I didn't get one.
Yep.
I didn't get one.
That's yours right there.
Oh, okay, you have it. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I took it. On June 7th, the Galt City Council Youth Committee will meet at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Community Room. On June 9th, the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. Actually, that's been canceled. As well as the Planning Commission, which was canceled, was supposed to be June 10th. So both Parks and Rec and Planning were canceled. That takes us to our next City Council meeting of June 15th. I think that's all the announcements I have.
Okay. Comments by staff? Jason? Did you have any comments? Or your staff?
No comment.
None? Okay. Comments by council members? Vice Mayor Payne?
I have no comments this evening.
Councilmember Clare?
Just might mention I'm down on the Gulf Coast with some meetings with the Navy, but of course there's a lot of attention on the continuing oil release that's gone on for, I think, 47 days now down here, and you can imagine the nervousness and concern of not just the environmental obvious risks, but also the jobs of many people down here and the tourism business and the fishing and related. So it's just very unfortunate, and there's a lot going on down here to see how they can deal with the various effects it's having.
Okay. Thank you. That was your comments?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Haynes?
I'm good tonight.
Councilmember Meredith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, there was a development with the prescription discount card program. They've apparently created a new card that is lightweight. It's set up so that it can be placed in the city newsletters very easily and not add to the postage weight. So it would basically be a free send out for us. So with council's permission, I'd like to ask for a shipment from the National League of Cities and see if we can come up with a way to actually get them out through our newsletters the next time they go out.
Okay, we're getting ready to process it right now.
We'll put it off till the next
Yeah,
cycle,
okay.
because it'll probably
Got
take
it.
30 to 60 days to get them in the mail.
Would that be too late? 30, if it's not?
That would be too late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they get mailed the end of June.
Yeah, we won't get them by then. Also, Cal Valley Solar is a local solar installation company that is involved with the Business Builders Organization, I think, here in town. They had toured the wastewater treatment plants and the police station with the city manager, myself, I believe Kurt Campion, were you there with us that day? A couple other individuals from the city that were in attendance. Cal Valley Solar was looking at doing a proposal to the city of Galt to do some type of a solar installation either on the police station or the wastewater treatment plant. They've been working to try to get a financing plan put together to present to us that showed that there would be a cost savings in actually putting these installations at one of the two locations. And we got some indications in the last 48 hours that they've come close to putting that together. So I want to open it up so that there's a possibility that they can present a proposal at the meeting on the 15th of June, if that's okay with council, to go over their plan and why they think that it would be beneficial to the city of Galt and to the taxpayers of Galt to put a solar installation in place at the water treatment plant, which was the preferred location after doing their analysis, I guess. So.
And that's something that you've brought up and we've all talked about too.
I think it's a good idea.
You'll work with Jason on it then. Council?
Okay. And then on the Memorial Day, I just wanted to make sure everyone was clear about something. I don't know what Mr. Baldwin was trying to insinuate, but I don't think that Vice Mayor Payne or Councilmember Claire or Councilmember Haynes or myself are any less patriotic because we didn't go to the Memorial Day ceremony out at the cemetery. I think what Memorial Day is about paying tribute to the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice to our country in defense of the ideals that we project around the world. I've been to the event on a lot of occasions, as I know all of you have, and I think that all 5 of us up here understand the sacrifice that these men and women have made in defense of our country. So just wanted to make that clear.
Okay. Well, I did attend, and I've attended every year that I've been here since 1990, and I know everyone only can make so many events. So just with that, I had a couple of items. One, I had the opportunity to participate in the City Tots graduation, which was always very fun and rewarding. You know, you have to stay out of the way of those kids. Did have one last item before we adjourn. We've talked about National Night Out, and again, it's August the 3rd, and it conflicts with our council meeting. And so a couple proposals, and no one likes to cancel the meeting, but I asked Liz, and the Monday before is available so that we could have a council meeting on Monday. I mean, I think several of us went out to well, I know Don, I saw you, and I was Liz.
Yes.
I don't know if you went out, but I know Barbara went out. I think all of us maybe. And I think that's something that I would like to do unless we think we're going to have a short meeting.
No, I agree with
I would
that.
like for you guys to think about it. You know, maybe we can make that final decision by the 15th.
I think it's a
Next
good idea. I'm
meeting.
glad you brought it up.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, if nothing else, so we will adjourn at 8:12. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good evening, Darrell.
Thank you.